Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Front Cover YouTube channel. I took a week break because of exams and essays and stuff at school, but I'm back now, ready to talk about Ben Simmons and my favorite part of the NBA year, the offseason, I guess. One of my favorite parts of the NBA year, the offseason. So let's get right into 5 potential destinations, 5 potential realistic destinations for Ben Simmons. This first one is my personal favorites, basically because it fulfills the need, I think, of both teams. We've got the Sixers getting Terry Rozier, who's a certified bucket, and as you can see, it says primary ball handler, who can not only play for other people, but can also score down the stretch of games. Because we saw in the playoffs, Embiid was like the only guy who could score for the most part until like fourth quarter came. Then he couldn't score either because they were pressuring him, and then like Steph Curry, one-man team basically, because Tobias was missing layups, Ben Simmons wasn't even taking shots. So Terry Rozier definitely solved some problems in that aspect. Also getting Vernon Carey Jr., a young center to back up Embiid as the team develops and stuff, because Dwight Howard is old, won't be there forever. And the Hornets, who already have 2 or 3 really good offensive guards in LaMelo, Malik Monk, if he's staying there part of the future, and Devontae Graham. All 3 guys can hit shots and play for other people and play okay defense, I guess. Malik Monk is a decent defender. But they get Ben Simmons, who can play maybe a small ball 5 for them, who can get in the dunker spot, guard the other team's best player. Really I think this trade really helps out both teams. Plus, Ben Simmons still has 5 years left, where Terry Rozier might not re-sign in Charlotte, and there's a better chance that he'll re-sign in Philadelphia. So I think this trade works out pretty well for both teams. This next one is the favorites of my 76er friend Archie Donahoe, because he likes CJ McCollum, he likes Robert Covington, likes what they can bring. George Hill, you're almost switching type players, because you got George Hill leaving, but they're bringing in CJ McCollum, who, like I said, is his primary ball handler, which is what they're missing. A guard that can create a shot, a guard who can play a 2-man game with Embiid and who you can consistently depend on. Steph Curry can be that at times, but he's not good enough. Let's be frank here. He's not good enough to be the main ball handler on a championship team. And Simmons clearly isn't the point guard of the future for them. So bringing in CJ, this would most likely be like a win now type of move. Maybe they move on from Tobias as well, bring in a better third option. Also bring Robert Covington to kind of fill the Ben Simmons defensive role. I saw some stats today. Covington's like top 15 in like steals, blocks, and deflections or something crazy like that. So he can definitely play a 3, 4, and maybe even 5 for them. And the Blazers, the 2-guard thing for them really isn't working. CJ was underwhelming in the playoffs already this season. So bring in Simmons, and who can maybe be like a Draymond Green type, like what Draymond was to Steph. Maybe Simmons can be that to Dame, plus you get George Hill, who will have 1 or 2 years left on his deal, and can be a backup guard. So Anthony Simons looked pretty good at the end of the season, so maybe he can step into the role of CJ, or maybe just play a big lineup with Simmons and Nurkic. This next one is also one of my favorite ones. Ben Simmons for TJ Warren and Malcolm Brogdon. Warren's coming off an injury, rather. So that's kind of a bigger question mark in this deal. But the main piece is Malcolm Brogdon, a guy who can be the primary ball handler, who can bring the playmaking that Simmons does, maybe not at the highest level that Mike Simmons is. He averages a good amount of assists and as a good creator for his teammates. And he can also score the ball. I mean, he averaged 20 points per game. The season was a borderline all-star. Now has a many. And TJ Warren, who did average like 45 points in the 5-game stretch in the bubble last season, came back to earth a little bit, broke his leg, didn't play for the rest of the season. But he, as I say, secondary ball handler. He can be maybe a 3rd, 4th option if they keep Tobias. Maybe they pick one of those guys every night in the playoffs, and they just have 4 guys who can go get a bucket for him, which is definitely something that you need if you're going to go down the stretch and go on a long playoff run. I've seen with the Hawks, they've been able to keep their run going just because they have guys like Trae Young, they have Kevin Huerter, Red Velvet, they have John Collins, have Bogdanovich. Those 4 guys can all basically create a shot for themselves. And the Sixers basically had at times 1, at times 3 Like, supposedly they had 4 with Curry, Harris, Simmons, and Embiid. But Harris was invisible in a lot of these games. Simmons just didn't shoot, and Curry isn't good enough to be a dependent number 2 and number 1 guy, and Embiid had a torn meniscus. So this one definitely helped out the Sixers, their depth and just playmaking. This next one I don't like as much because D'Angelo Russell, he had like 2 good months, and then apparently he's worth a max contract and a top 7 pick in the NBA draft this season. So this would definitely be a win for the Timberwolves. Get rid of one of the guys that plays terrible defense and take shots away from a star, I guess, in Cat, and a potential star/superstar in Anthony Edwards. So Simmons can be, like, you can play Cat and Simmons together because Cat spaces the floor a lot, takes 6 threes a game, and shoots 40% from the 3-point line. So you can play Simmons and Cat together. Jarrett Culver's in here just as kind of an enticer because a straight-up Russell for Simmons deal isn't happening because Sixers aren't doing that. The only reason this trade has failed is because there's a team option next year, so obviously they'll have to pick that up for this deal to be done, but I assume they will, whether they trade him or not, because he was like the 4th overall pick like 2 years ago, and he's a bit of a project, a bit raw. Maybe the Sixers can work on that if they get him. But this is my least favorite trade of the ones I made. These first 4 I made, and I know I said realistic trades, but I saw one on this website that is insane. It is insane, and it is this one. What? Obviously, the title said Jokic and Simmons teaming up the Warriors, but what? I don't know who made this, but jeez. This trade is whack. Sixers are trading Seth Curry, Ben Simmons, and Paul Reed for Wiggins and Oubre. The Nuggets are trading Nikola Jokic, 2020-2021 NBA Kia MVP, for Seth Curry, James Wiseman, 2 first-round picks, including the 7th overall pick this season, and a 2nd for next season. I mean, there'll be 2 lottery picks for this season, which isn't bad. But at the same time, it's Nikola Jokic, who just had one of the best offensive seasons of all time. And the Warriors, of course, trading Wiggins, Oubre, 2 lottery picks, and a 2nd that's not even theirs, for Nikola Jokic, Ben Simmons, and Paul Reed. The team was team up with Steph, and to team up with Draymond and Klay Thompson. That would be a lineup of, in crunch time, Steph, Klay, Simmons, Draymond, Jokic. If this deal can get done, the Warriors, Bob Myers is the GOAT. This ain't happening. The Nuggets are not trading Jokic for anything. Maybe Luka, but that's it. He just won MVP. Only person they trade him for is Luka, or like Giannis and like a bunch of first-round picks, or maybe Tatum and like 10 first-round picks. They're not trading him for James Wiseman and, I don't know, Corey Kispert and Davion Mitchell or something. Like that's just not happening. Unless Jokic, for whatever reason, wants out and they can get this haul, maybe. But the odds of him wanting out are slim. I don't see it happening. This trade is insane, and I hate it. So this trade is atrocious. Don't ever make trades where the MVP of the league is getting traded, unless it's like another super young superstar. Alright, that is it for today. Hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to listen to some podcasts. My podcast, of course. Link in the description. Spotify Green Room is a thing now. I'll be trying to figure out how to do that. Can't get my laptop yet. But I'll try to figure it out. Maybe do something for the finals. It's basically just like Twitch, but for audio, I think. I'm not sure. I haven't really played around with it yet. But I'll be back next week. Hopefully, most likely. I'm on a 4-week break between semesters, so I'll definitely be able to plug along, get some content out. So until then, peace.